Welcome to Q-Dads, I'm Stephen, and episode 7 of Foundation has made a few of our predictions become a reality. The episode titled A Necessary Death gives us some amazing scenes and shocking twists as we discover more about Empire and Hober Mallow's journey, who still delivers that great comedic touch.
Here's your blasted ship. It's not even mine.
The episode starts with Polly and Brother Constant in a Trantor prison, which seems to be overly guarded. Empire and Damosel watch, trying to determine their reason for being here. As the two talk, Empire opens up about the fact he will miss his interactions with Damosel when he starts this journey of a happy family. It seems that Damosel here has a look in her eye of disappointment. Does she somewhat enjoy her time with Empire, or is this because of potential failure in a grander plan? Damosel goes to fetch Queen Sareth en route to the doctor. Sareth confronts Damosel about being a robot. Damosel reminds us that she was forced to obey 3 laws protecting humans from her, but now lives by only one, to serve Empire. She reminds Sareth of this, and that it will not be extended to Empress.
I will serve Empire.
Once again, we're given one of those weird scenes with Damosel. She explains that she had previous rules to not harm humans, saying she now only has one rule to serve Empire. I question, is this rule ingrained in her code, or is it a choice? The way we have heard her say it in previous episodes made it sound like it was hard-coded. But now, I'm not too sure. Which only further opens the question, if she's not forcefully bound to Empire, why is she still there? We then see this procedure, or part of it, to check that Queen Sareth is fertile to have Empire's child. Here, Sareth notices the equipment that she asks her guard to swipe, but what's also noticeable is the little orb that sits on the table. This orb appears to have been used as some form of advanced ultrasound, but could it have already done something to her despite her refusal? I'm thinking maybe they harvested a few eggs, as the swollen ovaries would indicate she was about to ovulate. Maybe that's why Empire was rather smug later on in the episode. In some moments, I consider Sareth's stupidity as she hints about Damosel's copulation with Empire in front of everyone. Damosel quickly explains how she killed her family though. Sareth seems to really be pushing the boundaries of Empire and Damosel, and in my opinion, seems to be getting a bit big-headed. Is her lust for revenge getting the better of her? I think she seems to have forgotten about the power Empire have and how she means so little to them. Sal and Gale are talking on Ignis about the overall plan, Sal wanting to leave and Gale wanting to stay. Here, Sal mentions that she's having trouble hearing her thoughts and things don't seem right, but Gale is too engrossed in the facade of Talon Bond. Talon makes a comment here about knowing her way around a fishing net, reminding us that the Harry we saw in the last episode was her all along. Sal talks to one of the villagers and sees a boat that raises an eyebrow, and she flips her coin with it landing on the cat's side, not Crown's, showing us things aren't right here. Once again, similar to last week, the scenes on Ignis just feel weird. We see the little boy once again, and I've had a few commenters mention they believe him to be the mule. I'm not sure on that front, but I do think something is off with him. Could he simply be an illusion by Talon, using this form to slowly gain the trust of Salvor? We jump back to Hober Mallow as he speaks with the Spacer, She's Centre. Here we learn I was right, and Harry's plan was to take the Spacers away from Empire. We also learn that Empire take 10% of their children, and their children are taken to work on Impressy ships. It's worth noting here, she only seems to call through to Belerios because her daughter, She Bends, is in Empire's control. And as Harry is unable to predict individuals, does this mean his plan has started to fail? We've had a big reveal here too. In a previous episode, we hear Belerios talking to the ship's Spacer as she mentions he has a mineral under his fingertips that they need. It's nice to finally learn the name of this nutrient, Opalesque. And I don't think this is the last we'll be seeing of the home swarm. The fact their existence relies on the Opalesque, what race would not want to at least see if they can learn how to manufacture it? I think we'll get some form of split, a small splinter cell from the home swarm, joining the Foundation. One last thing to note about the Spacers while we're here is their ability to communicate with each other. It seems very similar to the Mentalics, doesn't it? This leads me to believe the Spacers were originally Mentalics when the Empire ran experiments on them 600 years ago. Experiments meant to increase their skills and strength. This would also be why they seem to possess telekinesis like Gale, as She's Center uses her mind to take the veil away from Hober. We're back with Gale for a moment as she speaks with the Mentalics and informs them of both the mule and the events of Season 1 and her journey to Harry. We then get this amazing scene as Hober Mallow is confronted by Belrios. That's right, he only went and released Becky onto Belrios, who kicks some ass. Jesus, that was a good scene. Hober even managed to call Becky away from a killing blow through command. I don't think they built up a relationship. Is this some sort of connection Becky has with Hober Mallow that stems around the jump technology? Another notch on the scoreboard of truth, as again, I was right about Belrios wanting to betray Empire, or at least him and Galawen share a moment of doubt against Empire. Empire and Sareth meet in the garden, and Sareth attempts a tactical approach of trying to get some empathy from Empire by divulging in her family. This backfires as Empire shows his dominance and explains that she just needs to be grateful. This then leads to a moment of desperation as she meets with Dawn where the walls can't listen. A couple of noticeable details here. The first being the fact they have facial screens distorting who they are from the public, but still showing us, the viewer, who they are. This reminds me of shows like Vikings, where we have a moment of their own dialect, but then reverts to English for the viewer's purpose only. The next detail is that Sareth referenced Dawn as being a kind person due to his eyes. Is that a subtle nod to the previous Dawn, who was colourblind? Sareth decides to seduce Dawn to get his baby instead of Days, but yet I see no benefit from this, as they are the same person. What are Sareth's motives here? She mentions the word coup, indicating a plot to overthrow Empire. Well, maybe not Empire, but just the current day. Maybe she plans to bring about an early dawn. Polly and Constant then meet with Empire, all three versions, and are confronted about their intentions. Polly sells this well and highlights how great of a character he is. A great conversation between Empire and Polly. I still think Polly is one of the best characters in the show. But then we get the biggest twist so far as Harry appears from within Brother Constant and starts talking to Empire. How is this done? We know that through the vault Harry and Constant have a connection, but is this Harry taking over the electrical current in her body, or temporarily resigning himself within the pendant, or is all not as it seems with Constant? We don't actually know her name, so maybe that's only the start of the mystery with her. Harry seems to have planned this meeting with Empire, and as I previously said, he's almost using the priests as martyrs at this point. I almost expected them to kill Brother Constant, which they didn't, so I'm not sure what Empire is thinking. More importantly, what is Harry's plan here? It almost seems like he wants Empire to make the first strike. Also, even knowing the news about the Spacers' refusal to join Foundation, he's still confident they would win against Empire, with that powerful line he produces.
But because we know with mathematical certainty if there's war, we shall win.
It almost feels as though Harry is as bad as Empire at this point, doing anything he wants to prevail. In the final act of the episode, we cut back to Salvor on Ignis as she goes for a joyride at night, discovering the body of Harry before being confronted by Talum, and in a shock twist, Talum knocks her out, leaving her to potentially drown. Well, what an episode. Speaking to Ben, he said he thinks it's the best episode of the season so far, and I think I might have to agree with him. With only 3 more episodes to go, I think the season finale is going to be brilliant. Now let's talk about that ending. Harry must have been dead at least a day or 2 now, but I see no signs of deterioration on his body. I would have expected the birds to have at least had a go at his body. He did seem to be floating though when the camera first swings onto him. And what about Salvor? I don't think she's dead. I think Talum knocked her out and is probably going to take her back to shore, saying she saved her from drowning or something. I only think this as we've seen her dead body in the mule premonition. Again, we have been saying maybe that's merely an illusion though. Anyway, let us know your thoughts on the episode. Why did Empire not outright kill Polly and Brother Constant after their exchange? Does he want a public execution again? Will Damosel kill Sareth when she finds out about the affair? And who do you think will fire the first shot, Empire or Foundation? Join us in a few days as we dive deeper into this brilliant episode in our weekly Foundation cast. As always, catch you next time with something new.